Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard Podcast with your hosts, Collin and Braeden Cox, as we record here on Wednesday, August 28th. One little over 1 month to go till the end of the baseball season just flying by at this point. But we're getting into September, which means playoff races, postseason pushes are right around the corner. So Braeden and I are going to get into which teams can make a late push for the playoffs. Which teams are kind of out of it, which teams are kind of locks. We're actually also going to give our NL Rookie of the Year predictions real quick. That's kind of fun, been kind of a fun race to watch throughout the season, and then a little bit in between everything. So, Brand, let's get right into NL Rookie of the Year, right? So
Yeah.
I know it's kind of between two players, coin flip, like you said earlier today. You have Paul Skenes from the Pittsburgh Pirates, stud pitcher, just got drafted. I think it was last year got drafted and he kind of made his way up to the bigs pretty quick. Um, and then, also have Jackson Merrill from the San Diego Padres, just having just a great breakout season as a rookie. He's kind of been a huge part of their success as of late. Padres are right in the playoff mix as well. We'll get into that also. But yeah, I think this NL Rookie of the Year watch is going to be fun. So, Bray, give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So again, this is one of those things where, like you said, it's really a coin flip. And I think a lot of it, what it comes down to is like, what do you like in a player, right? You can't like compare these two guys. It's not apples to apples here. If anything, it's apples
Right.
to oranges. We're talking about a center fielder versus a pitcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I totally get the argument for both. If we were talking a month, maybe two ago, I think we all would have said it's Paul Skenes, right? And I think over the past, as the summer's progressed, Jackson Merrill has kind of vaulted himself into that conversation. But for me, it's still Paul Skenes. It will always be called Paul Skenes. Um, because legitimately, like, there's a reason why we said that this guy should be starting the All-Star game, and he had played what, like 8 games at that point.
That's
Like,
fair.
he was throwing heat, ton of strikeouts. I got his numbers here. Uh 2.23
2.16.
ERA, 18
Yeah.
starts, 8-2 record, 136 strikeouts, 0.95 whip, over 109 innings pitched. Like, I think the reason why suddenly Jackson Merrill is in this conversation is he's had a lot of moments lately. Like, he had that walk off the other night,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Paul Skeens, not that he's like fallen off by any means, right? But he also plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it's kind of like, I don't know exactly where they are in the standings, but I would guess that they're last. Yeah, they're 14 games back. They're 9 games under. Like, it's not really a team that is exciting, right? And at the beginning of the year, maybe we were a little bit more optimistic about it. But really, what to me, it's been Paul Skeens since he debuted, and he went on that heater, especially to start his Pittsburgh Pirate career.
Mm-hmm.
8-2 record, 2.23 ERA, a ton of strikeouts. He throws heat, like unbelievable heat. Started the All-Star game for the NL. Again, like, I get the argument for Merrill, right? But I don't know. I feel like it's always kind of been Paul Skeens, and I think he's deserving of that Rookie of the Year title because of what he's done. And that's not taking anything away from Merrill. I think Skeens has just been better this year.
Yeah, Brad, I got to disagree with you here. I know, like you said, Skeens has been probably the most dominant pitcher in the NL, kind of all season, especially in the first half. It's why he started the NL All-Star game. That's why he represented the Pirates there. But to me, he hasn't been as dominant, since the All-Star break. I think teams are kind of starting to figure him out a little more. Like you said, though, he still has a 2.23 ERA. I think he has like 18 starts.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he's like 8-2 record. So he has been, going to be a huge piece for these Pirates, in the future. But what Jackson Merrill is doing, what I like about that, and I know there's a lot more that goes into it, but what I like about Jackson Merrill and the Padres is that they're in playoff contention, right? And he's right there in the mix of it. So I know Skeens can't really do anything about how the fact that he only plays every 5 days or so, only pitches every 5 days, and the fact that the Pirates are just awful, have not great offense, terrible bullpen, right? I think I think he was in line for a win today, and then the Cubs scored like 11 runs in a row or something. So I know got to take into consideration that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm just been always I just giving the NL Rookie of the Year to a pitcher who only plays like once every 5 days or so, compared to a position player, Jackson Merrill, center fielder, right, really important position. Um, who plays every day and is right in the playoff mix. It's been a huge role for this Padres team. I think I'm just gonna give the edge. I do think they're still gonna give the Skenes. I think it'll be better for the sport because you got the Skenes, like he's a little more popular. He's kind of was the top hot prospect, coming up in the organization from last year from LSU. So I do think Skenes is gonna win it. But if I had to decide, I would say Jackson Merrill would get my vote for NL Rookie of the Year. I would just like what he's doing with the Padres. Like I said, I like how they're winning, and I like how he's been a part of that. And also, Brandon, I did want to point out, according to Fangraphs, Jackson Merrill is actually 17th in F4 amongst position players, while Paul Skenes is 24th in F4 amongst position players. So, kind of take that with a grain of salt, do what you want with it. But I just Paul Skenes is 24th in F4 amongst pitchers, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah.
I said position players, but pitchers. But yeah, I'm just giving the slight edge to Jackson Merrill. But I do have a solution to this, Braden. Unless you want to give your thoughts real quick about my
No, I mean, listen, I
take there.
Like we said at the beginning, this is a coin flip, right? Like it really depends on how you look at it. So I think it's clearly one of these two guys. Maybe I'm biting a little bit more on the Paul Skenes hype. Like maybe that's where I'm at.
You
here,
and I on
but
Skenes since the start.
the low, yeah, and the lowest pitch count that he's had this season in a game has been 88 pitches, which to me means something, right? Like he's going deep in the games, right? They're not winning all the games like you mentioned today with the Cubs. Like they gave up 11 runs or whatever it may have been.
Yeah, and then like I said, that's not his fault. That's out of his control, right?
Exactly, right. So again, that's why I said this isn't like comparing apples to apples because Jackson Merrill is playing every night, right? Paul Skenes is playing what, once, maybe twice a week, and I don't know. Like I think I don't know. You could go either way on it. I'm just gonna lean Paul Skenes, but I'm not mad at you for taking Jackson Merrill at all.
No, I think like you said, it's either one of those guys. Is how you look at it. But Brain, so what my solution would be, how they have a Cy Young on each side for the best pitcher in baseball. They have MVP, more for position players, right? Unless you're Shohei Ohtani, who's both. But they only have one Rookie of the Year for each side. I don't know why they don't just do position player Rookie of the Year and then pitcher Rookie of the Year. So all I have to do is add that pitcher Rookie of the Year reward. And then, because like you said, you can't really compare a pitcher to a position player, in my opinion, unless the pitcher's like absolutely dominating, like, sub 2 ERA, 20 wins, and also their team has to be in contention, right? That's kind of what would get my vote. But
that's right.
But yeah, I think they should add NL, AL rookie pitcher, best pitcher in the league.
Some sort of Cy Young. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that's fair. I think that would definitely kind of makes sense, especially in a year like this where you've got two guys who, are kind of a coin flip, right? And you're like, you can make like really, really good arguments about both. So,
right.
Cool.
All right. Let's transition. So Braden's going Paul Skenes for NL Rookie of the Year. I'm going Jackson Merrill. So let's transition into I think Braden, we said kind of want to do the AL Central since it's such a tight race right now.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting of the divisions, I would say right now. You can make an argument for the NL West, but I feel like the Central is heating up, like as far as the race for who's
it's really fun because sorry for him, but I think it's really fun, especially because no one really expected these three teams to be like this good, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, keep going. Good.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way I look at it here, right, is you've got over their past 10, excuse me. Cleveland Guardians are 4-6. Not great. Just lost 3 out of 4 against Kansas City. Kansas City 6-4. Twins 3-7. So to me, I think this division race, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, like it's between Cleveland and Kansas City, right? I think the Twins could maybe get into the race, but the thing that worries me about the Twins, at least in this case, is I feel like that they're closer to teetering with the Red Sox for like that final wild card spot versus winning the division, right? That's where I'm at with it, right? Again, I'm not hating on the Twins at all. Um, I think that the teams that are in the AL, like the playoff picture as of right now, are the teams that should be and will be in it. So the Twins get in, right, over the Red Sox. Um, but I just don't trust the Twins the same way that I trust Kansas City. Shockingly, would not have thought I would have been saying that 6 months ago. And the same thing with the Guardians, right? Even though the Guardians are 4-6 in their last few, they did have a tough series against the Yankees. They did have a tough series against Kansas City. Yes, those series matter. Um, but like I still trust both those teams more than the Twins. As far as who I think is gonna win it, I was looking at both their schedules. They're kind of even, in my opinion. Like they both got to play Houston. Um, Kansas City's got another series with Cleveland next week. And then they got the Twins, they got the Yankees. It gets a little bit lighter. You got the Pirates, Detroit. You got Atlanta at the end of the year. Cleveland's got to go to Kansas City, like I mentioned. They got to go to the Dodgers, but then they've got like the White Sox mixed in there. They've got the Reds mixed in there. So to me, it's pretty even. Um, but like if you're gonna ask me who I'm gonna take right now to win it, man, like I feel like Kansas City can totally do it.
Yeah,
Is
I
I feel
think
like they've got the hot
yeah.
hand
Yeah,
and
they're hot. They're really hot.
they're
Twins were
they're
hot too.
red hot.
Twins were really hot too, but they're 3-7 in the last 10, so they're kind of
Yeah.
cooled off a little bit. But anything could happen this last month here. Still
Yeah.
there's a lot of baseball, but also not a lot of time left, kind of thing.
Yeah. I
But
think this
three
weekend is gonna be
30 days, a whole month to catch up 3 games. I think it's gonna
yeah,
be a fun race. And Tigers are also like 8-2. They're like 12-3
yeah,
the last 15 or something, 8-2 in the
yeah,
last 10. They're kind of high. I don't think they're in the picture, but I just think it's too little
yeah.
too late for the Tigers. But maybe be a fun thing to watch for next year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think these next seven are I shouldn't say are going to decide who wins it, right? Because it's tough to say that with like a month out because you're gonna have Kansas City versus Cleveland again next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're going to be Kansas City's going to be hosting, right? So make note of that, right? But this weekend, Kansas City has four in Houston, and then Cleveland's got three, I believe. No, they've got three at home against Pittsburgh, right? I think if Kansas City can take 3 out of 4 against Houston, I think they're going to win it.
Fair. I mean,
If that makes sense,
right.
because I think if they continue to be hot, I think that they can go into the Cleveland series and potentially sweep them. And I think if they sweep Cleveland, I think it's over. Even if they take 2 out of 3, I shouldn't say it's over, right? Because anything can happen. But I wouldn't be shocked in a week from now if we're talking that Kansas City has a game lead on them.
Yeah. But I think kind of just have to wait and see how they play. These
Yeah.
games coming up are huge. Kind of
Yeah.
postseason kind of starts already because these not must win games, but you definitely would like to win them to get that higher seed, right? Um,
Yeah.
and then probably more comfortable winning the division rather than being a wild card team and having a best of 3 series as opposed to best of 5 series to start the playoffs. Um, so yeah, going to be super fun to watch, especially the AL Central. And like I said, like no one really expected any of these teams to be this good. We were kind of high on the Twins. They'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, easier division. Like they'll be good, but not going to be as good as like these AL East teams, right?
Yeah.
But Guardians and Royals both kind of come out of nowhere. And Twins are right there. They're a great team. They had a bad April and definitely dug themselves out of that hole from April.
Yeah.
But now they've cooled off just a little bit again. So kind of a little worried about how the Twins might pan out. You don't want to stay too cold. Who I think the Twins are playing.
I don't have the Twins schedule up, but I can
Let me
see
check.
they've got
Twins,
they're playing the Braves.
Braves.
They're
Yeah, I spoke by
potentially
the
going to get
Braves last
swept by the
night. Yeah,
Braves, and then you've got Toronto, right? So
right.
again, this can play out a lot of different ways. All it takes is one team getting hot, one team getting cold, right? And then that completely sways it. It's hard for me. It's hard to say that the Twins can win it, right? So I'm basically saying, okay, they're gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna be the third in the Central. Um, and I just feel like Kansas City might want it more. I don't know. Like I just feel like they. I shouldn't
Yeah,
say
they
they
definitely
remind me of
definitely
the
have that
D-backs.
underdog story.
They
The
exactly
Royals have
is
a
they
lot chip
it,
on their shoulder this year. Yeah.
yeah, and even if they don't win it, they're not a team you want to see in the postseason right now. They're
Right.
just they score a lot of runs, right? It doesn't matter who they play. They just seem to they figure it out on a nightly basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know they lost 2 out of 3 against Philadelphia at home. They did get kind of smoked those last 2 games. I wouldn't look too deep in that. They're still young. So we'll see. I think these next
Yeah.
7, particularly Kansas City at Houston, is going to be a series to watch because
Yeah.
if Kansas City walks out of that and they're beaten up and they lose 2 out of 3, I think Cleveland could run away with it. Or the opposite if Kansas City gets hot. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today's game was actually the deciding factor of who would be leading the AL Central after today,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Guardians come out on top 7-5, but it looks like the Royals were winning. The
The
Royals were
Kansas City
winning
was up.
into
I think they were up five to
yeah.
two, and then
They were up
it just
five
fell
two in the
apart.
seventh, and the
Yeah.
Guardians scored 4 in the seventh and 1 in the eighth, and
Yep.
then Royals didn't score after that. So they had it in the bag. I don't know. I'm not really sure if the bullpen blew it or what, but
Yeah. The
yeah, I
last
think
thing I will say,
I think it's gonna be fun to watch overall. Just the AL
yeah,
Central,
no,
especially.
I agree. I agree. Um, what I will say is like my heart says Kansas City. I think my mind says Cleveland. If you're gonna ask me which of these 2 teams do you trust more, Cleveland, right? Because they've kind of been the staple of that division
They've
all
been
year. So
they've been
I would
consistent
trust that
all year.
they've
Yeah,
been consistent all year where Kansas City has been good,
cold.
right? But you don't they were the second worst team by record last year.
Right.
Do you want to put all your eggs in one basket on Kansas City? I'm not going to. I think I'm going to pick them to win the Central, right? Because I like the hot hand here. But I think this could be separated by a game or a half game when it's all said and done. And I think
Yeah.
that's awesome for baseball, especially for a division that is kind of like forgotten about at times.
Yeah, definitely under the radar. And it looks like the Braves just took a 1-0 lead on the Twins on top of the first. So,
Yeah. So again,
um,
I
yeah,
think the teams that are in playoff picture right now, including the Twins, will make playoffs. I
yeah, I
just
hope
don't.
so. That'll be
The
fun.
Red Sox getting swept at home by the D-backs basically sold it for me.
Hmm.
It's just like
They're
I
still
feel
right
like,
there, though. They're still right there.
but you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
I
you
feel
can't
like you
get swept
can't
at home. You're right.
lose.
No,
They're
you're right.
bad at home. They're
Right.
bad at home. From what I've seen, like every Red Sox game I've thrown on the TV or just been flipping through channels. Whenever I check the score and they're at home, they're losing. Right? They're better on the road, right? Which is not
Yeah,
gonna
30,
win you.
30 and 37 at home, 38 and 27 at away.
That's my
So,
point. Is like,
yeah,
dude, like and I get like you could even if you lose 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks at home, I'm okay with that because the
right.
Diamondbacks are red hot. But to get swept and like it not really be too competitive the entire time, I'll take the Twins.
Speaking of the Diamondbacks, Braden,
Yeah,
do they have
let's
any
hop into it.
chance of catching the Dodgers? For the AL or NL West division title, they're 3 games behind right now. Diamondbacks did lose to the Mets last night, and I think the Dodgers. I don't know if they played. If
The
they did play,
Dodgers
they
beat
won. I
the
think.
Dodgers. The Dodgers lost to the Orioles.
Okay,
Yeah,
Dodgers lost to the Orioles. So,
so it stayed
um,
even.
so it stayed even. Diamondbacks could have gained a game if they would have won yesterday. But I think this is another fun race to watch. Dodgers, D-backs, Padres, again, all separated by 3 games. Diamondbacks and Padres have the exact same, well, not the same record, but same. I think the Diamondbacks are 1 game up in the loss column, and the Padres are 1 game up in the win column.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
so, um, but I just think no one really expected that, right? No one really expected the Padres to be this good. We were pretty on the Diamondbacks considering what they did last year, but no one really saw these
Remember?
Padres heating up. And
Yeah,
then, like we said, because we were like, the division is going to be the Dodgers. They go out, they get Ohtani, they get Yamamoto, they got Freddie Freeman, they have Mookie Betts, right? The division title is going to be the Dodgers. I wasn't expecting it to be this close, this late in the
no,
season here. I know we have a month to go, which I said he has a lot of time, but also not a lot of time. Um, but yeah, I think the Diamondbacks and Padres definitely can make a little run here, for the Dodgers, title.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting that you bring up like not thinking that the Padres would be this good. I don't remember exactly, but when we did our like postseason predictions, I think one of us picked the Giants and one of us
Yeah,
picked the
I
Padres. I don't
I
remember.
was rolling with the Padres,
Okay, so then I
but
was
like
on the
I
Giants. So
always going to be like a last wild card team kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Like
So
barely like
yeah,
sneaking in the playoffs, but they're 76 and 58 or 18 games above 500. I did not expect that.
yeah, no, that's fair, and I'll take the L there. I guess I was sleeping on Slam Diego there. I shouldn't have been, but yeah, I mean, to me, this is kind of similar, right, to what we got going on with Cleveland and Kansas City, right, where I feel like it's between those two teams, and then the Twins are like right there, but like I don't look at them in the same category as Kansas City and Cleveland, at least like today as we speak, right? That's kind of how I feel about this. Um, I feel like it's between the Dodgers and the D-backs realistically to win the division, right? Obviously leaning Dodgers considering they have a 3-game lead, right? And the Padres are kind of that backseat, like they're just kind of floating around there. Um, but are still like very dangerous team. Uh,
Yeah, I
starting
think
Friday, starting Friday, we got a 4-game series um in the desert between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers.
that would be
Buckle up
fun.
for that one. Buckle up
That'll
for
I'll
that
be
one
tuning in.
because
Happy Labor Day.
yeah, because that one right there, that's gonna very much sway. Not I
Yeah,
shouldn't say sway, but that's gonna really like put these two teams on an I guess I shouldn't say even playing field, but put them 4 games against each other and see who kind of comes out on top. Um, it being in the desert, I kind of like the D-backs in this series. I'm not gonna go out and like make any like predictions really. Um, but I think this weekend with that series, you're gonna be able to see because I think if the Dodgers kind of go in there and kind of put their foot down, it's I'm not saying it's gonna be out of the equation that the Diamondbacks can't get it, but like say the Dodgers go in there, win 3 out of 4, like I think it's over.
yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
fair. Yeah, I will say this, Braden. If there's one team, I think the Diamondbacks are a better team than the Padres. But if
Yeah,
there's one
hundred
team
percent.
that could catch up to the Padres or catch up to the Dodgers, between the Padres and Diamondbacks, I'm leaning Padres. They're scorching hot, and they have some easier games coming up. Braden, this weekend they're playing the Cardinals, right? Solid
Yeah,
team, but they're like 10 games under 500.
yeah,
Um, and then on Friday they play the Rays in Tropicana. Always a tough place to play if you're
yeah.
an opposing team. But again, team under 500 currently. Then after that they play the Tigers in San Diego. So very winnable series coming up. I'm not really sure who the
The
Dodgers are
schedule's
playing
playing in their the
next.
schedule's playing in their hand is what
Yes,
I'm hearing.
and they're a hot team. I just think like if there is a team that could catch up to the Dodgers between the Padres and the Diamondbacks, I'm going with the Padres.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
I
like the way
honestly
they've been
can't be
playing
mad
too.
with that. I can't be mad with that. And like I said, how this reminds me a lot of the AL Central is I said like, yeah, the Twins are like kind of like a step behind Kansas City and Cleveland. I feel like um San Diego, I feel like is like even a smaller step behind like the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, obviously, but the Padres are not a team I would want to see in the playoffs at
Yeah,
all, right?
I wouldn't want to
Because
see any of
they're
those. I'd rather play the Dodgers in the playoffs than the Padres or D backs. I bet the Padres and D backs
you
have more to play
you'd
for than
rather say that
Diamondbacks.
again.
Or
You'd rather play.
I'd rather play the Dodgers than the Padres or D backs. I feel like the Padres and D backs have like more to prove, and the Dodgers kind of just like a playoff choke, like historically. So
I mean, roster wise, I heavily disagree, but like
like on
momentum
paper, yeah, on paper, but like
on paper, I heavily disagree. But like what you're saying as far as like more to prove, like maybe like shut the doubters up kind of deal. Yeah, I mean, I can't deny with that. I probably, dude, like the Diamondbacks are a crazy, crazy team.
yeah,
Like
they're good.
like, like it. I love that last year wasn't a fluke, right? Because really last year is they were like decent all year and then they got hot late, got
Mhm.
to the playoffs as who they played. They played the Brewers on the road. And then
The
I think
Brewers on
they
the road, and
swept
then went
them
to and then they went to LA.
and they swept the Dodgers, right? Like it was a great
Right.
story, but like a lot of people are like, oh, they just got the hot hand. Like, who knows? Like again, you and I picked them to make the playoffs, but did you have them in the World Series? I don't
I
remember
did. I had
exactly.
Twins. I had a
Okay.
Twins D-backs World Series.
And how are you feeling about that? Are you feeling
I
like,
mean, you know, I don't want to speak too soon. I'm thinking, our Yankees. We'll get into them in a little
yeah,
bit, but they have. I don't want to say the Twins, but I'm like, because Yankees are doing better than I thought they would this year, and obviously they
yeah,
have their holes. I think a lot of teams have their holes this year, right?
yeah,
Um, but it's especially glaring with when we watch the Yankees. But on the NL side of things, I'm feeling really good about the D-backs. Kind of making a little run. I know I posted a stat the other day on Twitter saying, or on X, saying like, they've been literally the best offensive team since the break, like leading
yeah,
OPS, leading team home runs, leading on base percentage. Like, there's overall just a really good team. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm pretty
So,
confident. I just like watching them play. I think they're
so
fun
let
team to
me
watch.
ask
And I
you,
think
right? Of the NL teams that are in right now, right? So obviously division winners, and you've got D-backs, Padres, Braves. What is of those teams, right? Who's the scariest and who's the least scary? I don't want to take anything into the AL because our Yankees are in the
yeah,
AL, and I don't want to like
right.
jinx anything, right? But I'm talking strictly the NL. Like, who's the
Like,
team that
yeah,
like
if I was an NL
you
team,
don't like the team you least want to play, and the team that you would be like the most comfortable playing
it's
if you
tough.
had to?
It's really tough. I think this postseason is going to be really fun overall. Like, I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of like teams are very very even this year, right? So I think it's gonna make for a fun postseason. But if I had to say, like like you said, on paper, the Dodgers are scary, right? They're the Dodgers. At the
yeah,
same time, like they haven't really won anything in the past. They won the 2020 World Series. I give them that, but even after they had a great roster, just can never really do anything in the World Series in the postseason. Um, but yeah, I think so. I would say probably I don't want to take anything away from the Braves because they're a great team, but without Acuna there, they're just like not as scary as
yeah.
some of these other teams, like like the Phillies or the D-backs or the Dodgers, the Padres. Um, so and the Brewers, like I know we were pretty high on the Brewers last episode. We were
Yeah.
talking about them a lot. But I would say like right now in the field, you has to be the Braves. Braves are 8-2 in the last 10.
Yeah.
They're kind of pretty hot right now, but like on paper, top to bottom, I think if you take care of Azuna, you take care of Austin Riley. I
Yeah.
think I think it'll be okay.
They're
But
beatable.
we have the other teams just have a little more depth. So
That's
I'd say
fair.
Braves are the least scary. The scariest is a lot of good teams to choose from. Like on
Like,
paper,
do
it's
you
the
want to go to
Dodgers.
Citizens Bank? Do you want to go to
Yeah, like
Citizens
it
Bank
could
Park in
be.
October?
Yeah, like there's just so many factors that
Scary.
go into like home field advantage.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, the Padres are super hot, great pitching staff, all around. So I think it's gonna depend how the September goes, like who gets really hot in September.
Yeah.
Um, I don't trust the Diamondbacks pitching though. That's the thing that kind of scares me. Kind of taking a
Yeah.
step back since last season. I think the Padres are just a really good overall team all around. They got the pitching and they're freaking hot with their bats. And they're also very good at fielding too. So I'm gonna roll the Padres as probably the most scary, like top to bottom, just because they're very, they have good pitching and they have good offense. So I'm gonna roll the Padres, I think.
I think that's fair. And one little thing I'll throw out there about the Padres, right? And it's not like exactly an even stat, right? But uh they are second in the league, right? With the most number of road victories. The Yankees are first, 42 and 26, and the Padres are 39 and 26 on the road, right? So this is a team that, as a wild card, is very, very dangerous. Like they can beat anybody because they'll go into your stadium and they'll beat you.
Right.
So I think that's I can't really deny. Like I would I pick the Padres, like I probably would have leaned between them and the Dodgers as like the teams I would like least likely want to play like at this very moment. Um, but like yeah, I think the Padres are definitely a scary team. It's going to be an exciting October. to say the least. And I hope everybody's tuned in, because I think regardless of how this plays out, I think those 3 wildcard games are going to be, I guess it could be 2 wildcard games, but I think they're going to be spectacular series, especially if you give me Diamondbacks, Padres for 3
Yeah.
games for all the marbles. Like, come on. How do you not, like, as a sports fan, not love that?
Right. Yeah. Who do you think? So who do you think the scariest team on the NL side of things is? Um,
As far as it really depends, right? Because as far as like home field advantage, it's Philadelphia, right? And
yeah.
the thing that hurts the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres is, despite them being decent road teams, is you got to fly across the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus like
In
the
that environment,
Brewers.
in the hostile Philly, yeah,
Exactly. Like, you got to get
different,
on like a 5-hour flight to
different, yeah,
Philadelphia, and then you're gonna get beat, like, like they're gonna rip you apart, like the fans will, right?
right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think
Mm.
that plays an advantage. So I would say I would be between like Philly and probably San Diego right now, purely because San Diego is a really good road team,
Okay,
right? Like
that's fair.
dude, if you were to tell me tomorrow, like, hey, we're getting Padres Dodgers NLDS, dude, like I legitimately wouldn't know what to tell you, because the Dodgers on paper are clearly the better, but like Padres going on the road could totally, like, just sweep them. They just do what the Arizona Diamondbacks did last year. So I don't know. That's what makes this exciting. Is you know, each team has its strengths. Like you said, each team has its holes too. It's just a matter of who can kind of fill those holes
Yeah,
at the right time when it matters the most. So I would say Philadelphia, because it's on the other side of the country for those teams. Their home field advantage is insane. But the Padres can just kind of do it anywhere. So I would say
yeah,
between those 2 teams.
yeah. Thinking about it, Braden, it's a shame that the Dodgers or the Padres and the Diamondbacks might end up playing each other. Is that
Yeah.
on? Yeah, that's on track to be the
Yeah.
wild
Those 2
card
teams would, yeah,
first
they would
round.
face each other.
Yeah, and then whoever has a better record would be the home team.
Right now would be the D-backs.
Right. So it just sucks that one of those teams wouldn't be in the DS series playing a 5 game
Yeah.
set, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But
This is true.
what it is. Maybe maybe the Padres can catch up to the Dodgers. The Dodgers drop down to the wild card, and then it's Dodgers D-backs wild card, and then I think everybody will be rooting for the D-backs there. So, but yeah, I just
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
gonna be
I mean,
fun. It's gonna be fun to watch
yeah.
the race. It's gonna be fun to watch after postseason. So, stay tuned on NDR. We'll give you updates.
Yeah. I would say probably like for like the DS purposes for the NL, like I'm still on the Brewers. I know we didn't talk about the Brewers a lot here, but
Yeah, yeah.
they're
We
six
thought
and
we
four
talked
in their
about it on
last
last
10.
episode. Yeah, you guys want
Yeah.
to check our last
They're
episode
still a
about the
good
Brewers.
team. They're still not a team you want to play, right? But as far as like excitement, right? Like, turn on your television and watch it. The 4 teams I want to see in the DS for that purposes, right, would be the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres, right? Because I think they're the
Yeah,
most
100%.
exciting
No, I agree. I
teams,
agree.
right? But I do think the Brewers will be in there for sure. I can't see the Brewers not making it to the DS this year.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a hot
Interesting.
take,
No,
but
I
I
mean
mean
I
they
don't
would
think it's a
right
hot
now.
take, but
Right now they would play the Braves, and I would pick them in that series.
that's fair. No, that's
So
100% fair.
the Hank Aaron series.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right.
like that, I got
I
everything
think
off
that about wraps it up
my
here
chest.
in the yard.
In a week, we'll probably be having a similar discussion, but it's going to be, completely different as far as,
Yeah.
how we feel about each team. So that's what you love about this game, is there's so many games.
Yeah.
And you know,
So
cool.
hopefully we'll be in person next week. We'll be able to record in person.
Yeah, that would be great. And if especially if our Yankees are, I don't want to jinx it, right? It's kind of a touchy subject, but if the Yankees kind of go on a run, I think I'll be spending a lot of time in the Poconos for depending how far the Yankees get. Maybe I'll even be spending some time in the Bronx. Who knows?
Right. So if the Yankees do, in the postseason, they'll be back in the Poconos or the games.
I think if we're talking like CS, right? I think I'll just say, F it, I'm coming, and we're watching these games.
Yeah, I'll have a watch party. I will watch
Right?
party every day.
Yeah.
But I do want to hit a postseason game for sure in the Bronx. Haven't been to one yet.
No question.
Depending on prices though, and schedule
Yeah.
and all that, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's fair. I mean,
We'll see.
the way I look at it is like right now, if again, a touchy subject, the Yankees in the World Series, I'm gonna try my best to go
Wow. That's like you said, might
because
never
that's a
happen in a
once in a
lifetime again.
lifetime.
Right.
That's like it's a once in a lifetime deal, right?
Yeah.
10 years down the road, that money won't matter. That's got to
It's
be
true.
that's the
The
tunnel
finance
vision you
guy.
got to have here.
Everyone listen to the finance guy here. 10
Yeah.
years, 10
Or
years
you
from
got to
now, the
break
money
it
you
down
have
by
doesn't
the
matter.
day. So if the
Right.
ticket's $500, you're like, okay, so like over the course of like 2 years, that's like less than $1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to put it into
Yeah.
that perspective too.
Right.
Um,
Right. It's like,
so yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't want to jinx anything, but yeah, I'm cool.
yeah.
We can wrap up there.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you everyone for listening to In the Yard. I think Braden and I are actually going to record a quick NFL episode for football junkies here right after
Yeah.
this. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. MLB playoff race, postseason push is getting really hot. Braden and I are going to stay tuned to give you guys updates on that. And yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. September overall, going to be fun postseason. The best month of the year is right. It's almost here, October,
I
right?
agree.
Got October baseball,
100%.
football, and prime. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you everyone for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.